Okay, so we got past 30 minutes. So we're going to pick up where we left off here. So the 10 rules of project management. Okay. This is Project 2016 for Dummies by Cynthia Snyder. So this is just a highlight. This is from her book, website dummies.com. So it says, number 1, roll with it. Put your ducks in a row. Dang it, my hands are cold. Expect the unexpected. Don't put off until tomorrow. Delegate, delegate, delegate. Okay. Keep the team in the loop. Measure success. Maintain a flexible strategy. And learn from your mistakes. Okay, I'm not going to be too tough on her. Probably because either, I don't know who came up with those highlights, but roll with it. Okay, this is a lot of wordy stuff. Roll with it. I don't know from what position she's coming at to say that. Wow. No, don't roll with it. Either you work on a project and you know what's going on, and if you're on the team or you're an employee that's directly or indirectly involved, dotted to the project, you should know what's going on. Maybe she means roll with it means if you're not directly involved, it's really none of your business. Well, it sort of is your business because it might directly affect you later on. So, I don't know. I don't know what she means by that. Network diagram, timeline, task expansion, collapse. I don't know what that means. Maybe it has to do with using Project 2016. Just the software alone. So, put your ducks in a row. You should always have your ducks in a row. Unless you don't want them all killed with one shot. That doesn't make sense. But if you ever shot a gun and you had a line of birds on a fence line and you just lined up and shot straight down and you kill almost all of them, that's a bad thing. It's like prior to World War II, lining up all your planes in the center of the airfield to where it allows the enemy just to shoot them easily. That's stupid. But put your ducks in a row. My dad always said that. Put your ducks in a row. It's always mind your P's and Q's. Cross your T's and dot your I's. Go for what you know. It's the difference between being confident and arrogant, and there's a fine line in between. That's a big one. When it comes to projects, team structure, resource information, reality check, expectations, management expectations, company policies. Company policies are a big one when it comes to project management. You have to know that sometimes HR, by the way, they're a resource. Okay, so let's talk about project management, and let's talk about companies and organizations as a whole. There's two schools of thought when it comes to a company. There's a profit center. Those are the people that are actually making money for the company at the core of the business. And then there's the cost center. These are the people that are basically, they're not core to the company, but they're there for a reason. HR, payroll, accounting, all of these can be outsourced to some degree. It's a third-party company. Research and engineering, design, the core leaders in the company. What do you call them? These are the people you put insurance on in case they die. It's like your key man insurance. It's called key man insurance. To where like Bill Gates, key man insurance, $100 million life insurance. If he dies, $100 million gets put in the bank account, more or less. But those company policies, let's get back to that. Company policies. HR will tell you how you have to do something when they have no idea how you're going to do it, let alone with the dynamics of the people you're working with. So sometimes it's okay to push back to HR and say, you have no idea what you're talking about. And oh, by the way, I can outsource you if you don't agree with me. Oh, wait a minute, I'm a manager. I can bind a contract. I can hire and fire, but you can't. You're supposed to help me. You're a service provider. That's a very interesting thinking that most new managers or directors or whatever have you, most of the experienced leaders understand. HR is to help you. They're also considered the police of the company, but they're not lawyers. Your lawyers, your risk management, all of that, that's totally different. When it comes to project management, risk assessment, risk management if you've got that in the leader and they know what they're doing, they consider all these things as the project gets started, conceived, running, closure. Even 3 years down the road, you finish a project and you get subpoenaed or deposed for something you decided 3 years prior, like I have, and you look at it, and that was my signature. But why are these two vendors suing each other? It's because what you did at the time, anybody in your position would do, and that's considered reasonable and prudent. And why these people are suing each other is because one won and one lost the contract. Now, that's nothing new. People get sued all the time. But you have to understand, as the project leader, you will make decisions that may end up being in court one day. Your emails, your documents, your work notes, your strategy notes, all that will come into play. Now, there's document retention, and lawyers will tell you this. And so understand your document retention policies too, when it comes down to how much do you document, how much do you take off the record, talk in person. Conflict resolution isn't best served in email. Sometimes conflict resolution is a phone call or a face-to-face. So sometimes, but then make a note of what you did. You had the conversation. This is what you came to. Get some confirmation. Protect your, CYA, cover your ass. So put your ducks in a row. Make sure that the person on the team doesn't have any baggage in their past that's going to creep up and haunt you in order to succeed. Expect the unexpected. Oh, wow. You can't account for everything, but you can role play as if you can. So she talks about critical path. I think that the critical path, expect the unexpected. Say you're buying things for the resources. You have a fixed budget and you thought it was going to cost you so many dollars. And then by the time you got to that point, you either hadn't locked in the contract with those supplies, raw materials, or resources, or terms to where that price wasn't there when you got there. It should be, and the person you've agreed with knows that the price you've agreed to 6 months out is the price you're going to pay if you haven't paid them now. If you've agreed to pay them at that time, at that locked-in price, that should be known. Project managers should know that. If not, don't be a project manager, let alone a manager or own anything. But unexpected things that may kill a project, may scuttle a project, it's possible. Don't put off until tomorrow. I don't know about that. If it's on the schedule, try and do it today. If not, don't kill yourself. Don't beat up yourself. Talk to the people responsible. Just tell them, you said, you know what, something's wrong. Something's wrong with my team. We're gonna slip this to the next opportunity, maybe tomorrow morning. We do maintenance windows, and sometimes you get into a maintenance window that's like from midnight to 6 a.m. Something's not right. You get an hour in, you're like, man, something's not right. We're going to have to slip the maintenance window. And that's not necessarily, and that could be in a project. That maintenance window is a task in a project. So don't kill yourself. Remember, we're just human. Delegate, delegate, delegate. To a degree. Don't cherry pick stuff for yourself. Cherry pick for some people. Give them an easy win. Sometimes these are stretch goals. Project management isn't just about coasting. It's about, doing something that's going to improve everybody's life. The experience alone, the journey. But at the end, or throughout the process, everybody gets rewarded. So sometimes if you start a project and it's mid-review cycle and you get to the review and you're halfway through a project, and how can you judge somebody and let them know and give them bonus and salaries and stuff like that? Think about that. I mean, if you have an annual review or a semi-annual review, and it's semi-annual review or weekly or monthlies, make sure that rewarding people that are on the project possibly aligns. Now, if this is a multi-year project, it's not going to matter anyhow. You got the job, you're working on the job, that's the reward. Bonuses, stock, trips, spiffs, those all come into play. Designate one person to handle all the data. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Always cross-train to where if somebody gets sick or dies, the other person can pick up where they left off. I've seen companies where they silo their expertise. Stupid. I think structure is good. We'll talk about sub-projects and stuff like that. Notes, reports, visual reports. Okay, visual reports, metrics. 5 metrics. Qualitative, quantitative. Have 2 or 3 qualitative, 2 or 3 quantitative. So qualitative means, how's the team doing? How's our safety record? Goal is 0. days, or what do you call it? Where you have 0 defective parts per million, you haven't had an accident in 3 years, nobody's died. Metrics on a project is a little different. We're on schedule, we're behind schedule, we're above budget, we're under budget. These are variances. That EVM stuff I was telling you about earlier, earned value management, there's variances, cost variances, time variances, things like that. People can metric the heck out of project management to a point where all they do is sit there all day long and just run metrics. There's tools to do that. P6 Primavera, that's a very powerful management tool. Microsoft Project, fine. Visio, fine. Get your visualization tools and your task tools. Tasks to resources, dollars per hour. Get that all figured out in advance. Keep the team in the loop. Yeah. You should have team meetings, project meetings, regularly. In the military, you'd have a recon to do. You would talk about, this is where we're going to start, that's where we're going to end up, and that's where we're going to come back to. Our rendezvous is back here. So when it comes to a project, sometimes a whiteboard of the project, or a whiteboard of projects. Project. So if you have 8 team members, 10 team members, well, let's make it easy. Every team member will be on a project. They'll be paired together, or 3 of them together, and they'll have their names, and they'll have how much is it going to cost, and when does it start, and when does it finish. Simple stuff. To where you have a team meeting, just look at the board. Okay, where are we at? That's good, that's bad. Now if you're a walk-around manager, you know where all of these people are. These could be direct reports too. You can't argue with a whiteboard when it comes down to if nobody speaks up, then somebody's holding back. Now, if somebody on your team is going to set you up for failure as a project manager, that's a big one. I've seen that happen where somebody tries to get you fired. I had some GMs at Microsoft try to get me fired. I was like, why? Well, you're half our age. You shouldn't be managing this multi-million-dollar project. People have to be like 40 or 50 years old to do that. That doesn't make any sense. If I'm competent and capable, and I have a team of 10, 50, 100 people, one thing about project management is all the people believe in you if you're the leader. Now, maybe not everybody, but most of them. They go, hey, the guy's personable, he knows what he's talking about. He talks to management, correct? He translates, it goes up, it goes down. He stands firm on some things, he's flexible on other things. I don't know. Keep the team in the loop. I have had bad news from a direct report from somebody I reported to, and I came back to the team and I said, okay, we've got some bad news coming. So I'm going to give you the skinny early before the shoe drops. So what do? Because as a team, we all should not be blindsided. Nobody should be blindsided. That's not fair. So unless you absolutely have to be hush-hush. If you're going to fire 300 people tomorrow and you're part of that firing team, that transition team, yeah, you do have to keep your mouth shut. So unfortunately, sometimes hiring and firing can be a project. It's painful. The process is painful, and people are real. So I've hired 30 people, fired 6 in a day, hire 100 in a month and a half period, and fire 250 just after a meeting. I mean, it's not a good feeling, but if it's a bad idea and the company's is definitely going the wrong track, and you got to be the bad guy, don't be the bad guy. Be good cop, bad cop. Just say, really? It took you how long to get to here? And I look at it and I go, man, you've wasted so many man hours, 250 man hours times 3 months, and you're nowhere near where you need to be. Either we do a hard left turn, or we just fire everybody. Top down. Keep some of the people. I don't know. Measure success. Measuring success. That's a tricky one. I would say if it's a great project and it rolls out, because handing off a project into production and everybody knows it, likes it, it makes their work easier, that's a good thing. Let me see what time it is. Oh, I can't tell. Oh, 14 minutes. Okay. I wish those letters were bigger, camera people. Maintain a flexible strategy. I'd say there's rules you can bend, but you can't break. Sometimes it's financial. Sometimes it's team players. Somebody's got to exit the team. That's vital to the team. Learn from your mistakes. Well, that's a no-brainer. That's called the quality circle, quality management circle, quality management, where you start at the beginning, you go all the way around, and you come back, and you start over, and you say, what did we learn? Somewhere along there, there's a post-mortem. There's proper metrics, collections, and stuff like that. So, this guy here, his name's Kaz. 5 fundamental rules of project management. Manage expectations, number 1. Watch the critical path. Manage scope. Calendar time versus effort time. Don't know what that means. Project checkpoints. Go, no-go reviews. I don't know about that one. Go, no-go. What are we in NASA? Go, no-go. The iron triangle. Definition of success. Executive sponsorship. Business process ownership. Get out of the way. Well, let's just take the first one. Manage expectations. The rule number 1. Get agreement quickly. Yeah, usually. I've had people on my team that, for a project, that was a stick in the mud. And I pulled them aside and I said, I don't know what's wrong with you, but your attitude sucks. Is it me or is it you? Or is there something going on at home? And they were like, well, just, this is just the way I am. No, it's not the way you are. And if it is the way you are, get off the playground. This is not the way it works. I've had people where you can't fire them. HR says you can't fire them. You got to work with them. That's another thing about project management. If you have somebody that's holding up the project, that's being an anchor, that's dragging down the whole ship, cut them loose. It's like they say, hire slow, fire fast. And if HR isn't willing to help you, there's some psychology tricks you can do. Here's one, project management. If your hands are tied to do anything with some people, don't give them any time. Barely notice their existence. It works. It goes back to the childhood playground where if you have a bully and the bully wants attention, or the person is basically hogging all of the time and resources, but they don't control the playground and they don't control the game, but they tend to think they are. Just, if you're the manager, if you're the leader, director, it's like my dad said, if I stop talking to you, there's a problem, and I don't have to talk to you. HR never said I had to spend 80% of my time with 20% of the people that are bad, because that's the 80-20 rule. 20% of the people I want to spend with who are doing 80% of the work. Those are the people I want to work with, and have more people like that. They always say, pour water on things that grow and cut off things that are dead. So in project management, psychology says I have actually had to, over weeks, ignore somebody that just drives me crazy. And HR says, well, we're powerless to do anything. I said, that's not fair. I was young, as a manager, things like that. By the way, you're never too young to manage big things. So when you hear seniority and you hear politics and all that stuff, I was only 18, 19 years old, managing, a $24 million budget, running the audits for the entire group. I had people next to me that were E6, E7, and they were like, why is this guy who's a private sitting in on this meeting? And then the CW4, Chief Warrant Officer 4, says, this guy's pretty good. He knows what he can look at our numbers, he can flip through pages and see things so quickly that you guys take a week, he takes a couple hours. And he'll see problems. Now, I didn't know this, but Bill Gates once taught many of his team members how to read a spreadsheet fast. He didn't teach me, but when I heard it, I was like, well, that makes sense. So you just look for patterns. You look for things that stick out. Balloons, control factors. It's easy. Watch the critical path. This guy says manage scope. Calendar time versus effort time. What does that mean? Oh, that has to come in. The effort for, the calendar time versus the actual time. I get that. You'll run into that where you think it'll take 4 hours and it ends up taking 6. That's okay, because something else you said for 4 hours will take 2. That will work itself out. But if you have a lot of people depending on the delivery of that thing, you better know it in advance. The iron triangle, better, faster, cheaper. Well, there's a whole conversation on that. Definition of success. Projects suffer from the lack of clarity. I hope not. Executive sponsorship. You don't want to if the bosses jam it down their throats, make it a priority. Nothing should be jammed down your throat. Take the pill. The blue pill, the red pill. Be happy. Be happy that you're invited to the meeting. That's half of life. They say half of your success is just showing up. The other half is being invited. See, there's some great things going on in life, and if you're never noticed or recognized, you don't even have to be recognized, but if they don't invite you to the table, then whatever you're saying isn't that important, or they don't care what you report, because they got plenty of people that are as smart as you, and maybe you're just... A vice president of Microsoft once told me, I love having Andy around, but keep him away from me, he has too much energy. Well, there's truth to that. There is truth to that. But it's good energy. And the open door policy does work, because I've had to go to him a couple times. I said, I don't know about you, but these people that I report to, now should I be reporting to you? And he didn't want me to, but I reported to other people. He ended up firing these people anyhow, because they were not fair. It was stupid. That's life. Get out of the way. If you're a project manager, never get out of the way. Stay in charge. If you need to hand it off, hand it off. Do a great transition. They always say replace yourself with somebody equal or better, so you can move on to something better or more fun or just equally as fun. You don't have to, and project management is fun. I mean, it really is. When you're working on a project, the hardest part is if you don't have resources. They always say do more with less. Well, technically, that's just the way life works. You don't have unlimited resources, and if we did, we wouldn't have anything to complain about. So I think that's it for project management. I'm going to look at this video and probably go back over it and probably redo the whole thing, but this will end up being on the blooper reel. So how much time do we have left now? 21 minutes. Okay, so let's recap. Project management. Do I have a project board right now with all the projects I'm working on? No, because I'm only doing 2 or 3. More 2 than 3. If I were a senior program manager or an operations manager, I'd have it on a whiteboard. I have several whiteboards in the garage, in my office. Most of my grandkids and stepkids use them for fun, but that's okay. Risk versus reward. Your risk has to be as low as possible, reward as high as possible. Only work on number 1 projects. That's all I can say. If you work on number 2 and number 3 projects, it's either one, you're not good enough, you're not well connected enough, you're too green, green, or they don't believe you and trust you. Maybe they're just testing you out. But if you work on number 1 projects, if you make the big screen like in the movies, if you become that comedian, I mean, there's a lot of work and a lot of travel. I don't know. You get to a certain age where it doesn't really matter anymore, but you do realize that the time you spend, and here's a saying that I give to people all the time, you can get paid this much and have this much stress, or you can get paid this much and have this much stress. Same stress, but the pay is different. Where do you want to be? The rewards, sometimes it's not just money, sometimes it's, some people just want to have some security in a job, part-time, and more time with their family. And that priority can change over time. When you're young, you don't have a family, but when you start to have a family, you know, your work's going to pull you one way and your family's going to pull you the other way. Why can't they pull you together? Why can't it be in parallel? I don't know. What else about project management? I had 22 projects at Microsoft, 21 of them all successful. 1 was a failure, and that one failure was one that I took over from somebody else who was screwing it up. And I said, give me 45 days to take over this project, and either I'll fill or kill it. Fill or kill. In 45 days, I pulled the vice presidents together, and I was just a manager. And I said, we've got a problem. It's not the project, it's the design. It is a fundamental design problem. And yes, we're going to lose $1.8 million on this investment. However, the vendor is going to take it back and give us something else in place that does work for that value. So the loss in value was all the time, all the people, all the resources, all the stress. However, that was a tough meeting. But that one, out of 22 projects, and most of my projects were $250,000 to $1 million. The savings were in the millions, billions. I don't know, every hour, I mean, we're producing $50 million in software, and for every hour of downtime. We're both in a maintenance and a design shop. We're engineers. Other projects, ever since I retired from Microsoft, I mean, I've probably worked on 500 more projects, totaling out to be $4 billion. If you just do the math, show the projects their value, the cost, the savings, the profit. How many computers have I touched individually, let alone people I've managed? When it comes to project metrics, don't inflate your numbers. Keep it fair. Average if possible. Be conservative. The old thing with project management as well is always undercommit and overdeliver. And I'll end with that because our time is up. But I'm going to go into post and take a look at this. So like, subscribe, share. This is Andy from Mountain Computers, and there'll be more to come. This was a really rough project management presentation. So it'll probably be 2 parts, but we'll see what happens. I'll probably do it again. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.